Hello, everyone, and now welcome to I believe this is now game 6 in the series? Yeah, game 6 in the series between Delphi and KnowMe. Delphi losing the last game, and I am not surprised that he would choose Coral Hall City as his next map if in fact the loser gets to choose the next map. Coral Hall City, one of those maps that absolutely scream Zerg, Zerg, Zerg. The ramp inside your main base is doubly large, so it is rather difficult to wall off. The fact that a player would even try to wall off here, force a wall off, is very difficult, as Zerg players in general have a very easy second base and an easy third base for them as well. Third base is blocked by debris, but Zerg players in general can set up a macro hatch or an economic hatch inside their base, and there's not much you can really do about it. The Zerg player will have queens in position. This is much more easy for Zerglings to do a run by than, say, for Hellions, as queens will be able to shut this down. I am expecting Delphi to come out ahead in this series, as Delphi does spawn as the pink Zerg player here at the 3 or 4 o'clock position. KnowMe spawning as the light blue Protoss. And once more, talking to any Blizzard people who watch my shoutcasts, please fix this. In Wings of Liberty, the titles, the left player here would always correspond to the left player on the replay. That is not happening. Hopefully that is a known issue or bug. Otherwise, I will be writing an email to Dustin and David, and if they don't automatically send me to their spam filter, I will be very, very happy. Now, KnowMe already comes in and blocks with a proxy pylon, or a blocking pylon. Nicely done. And this drone, his only option for an expansion now is down here. That is a rather out-of-the-way expansion, but it is still pretty easy to defend. Zerg players, all they need to do is then defend this large area, and they are essentially blocking able to sit down on 3 bases. It is a lot of surface area to cover, so air harassment does tend to have a very, very strong type of playstyle, as KnowMe is going to be walling off with a forge, a gateway, a pylon. We need to see another cannon, perhaps off over here or here, and that probe is going to be holding position for as long as possible, as a zealot is still not yet in play. Oh, that is going to be a poor, poor day for a probe. Is that probe going to warp in a pylon first? It looks like it will not. Oh, it does go down. And Delphi gets some easy kills on a probe, and perhaps this photon cannon as well. Zerglings now dancing around. Front door does have a photon cannon, as the probes are going to be forced to try and engage here. The probes, however, slightly slower, 2.81. All right, that's the movement speed I was thinking of. Hydralisks with movement speed upgrade have the same movement speed as a worker. Thank you, lapsing brain. All right, Zerglings continuing to engage against those probes. The probes are making their way down, and now once again pulling their way back, able to get off 1 kill there. And now all these Zerglings can really do is hope to chase down a probe or two and not get baited into a zealot or perhaps even a photon cannon. The photon cannon is on that front door. No more units will be able to make their way in. Delphi now able to set up on 3 bases, as this is rather dangerous. Building a building right under a giant rock tower that could fall and crush your buildings. We can see the probe. Oh, is it going to be able to slip away? Yes, it does. And the Zergling now down to 22 hit points. Not much that it can do, as the Zealot should be able to slice and dice and now finish off that Zergling. It is going to be 3 bases to 2 here on Coral Hall City. The map is rather large, and even though I don't like the map personally, I think we can see a lot of very entertaining games on it. This is a rather unique layout. The bases, each base essentially has 4 bases inside that are rather easy to defend. Now, moving beyond that, it's going to be a little bit more difficult, and there's also a lot of dead space in the corners. So even though the map does look very, very large, in terms of spacing, because there's so much dead space in the corners, I do expect a lot of ground engagements. Now, the center is rather wide open. There's only some untraversable terrain here surrounding the center, but it's not like it's a wall, so you can always see across it as well. Zergling players may find this map somewhat reminiscent of Tall Dream Altar, except your base is a little bit easier to take and defend. Now, Coral Hall City is most likely a very, very large macro map from what we've seen so far. There we now see more pylons being added down here. We could see some gateways being added as part of a wall here. And I am surprised... Oh, a flat-out wall all the way across to this untraversable terrain, and with a couple photon cannons here, it's going to be very easy for KnowMe to actually defend these 3 bases. KnowMe is going to establish this one particular base down here. Zerglings are now trying to make its round. The sentries are going to get in some attacks. What is happening here? That is too many zealots and sentries. The Zerglings are not going to be able to do much. Metabolic boost not yet done, as we are going into a Hydralisk then. Drone now making its way off up to this base here. We do see 17/24 saturation. No additional gas being taken. Delphi taking up a lot of Zerglings, as he does have a slight supply advantage. Zerglings now purposely blocking this 4th base from coming into play. This is a very smart move. Delphi wanting it to be difficult for KnowMe to take up another base. He's actually going to take down these rocks himself. You can see that rock tower simply falling. And now 2,000 hit points worth of rocks with 3 armor before that can get shut down here. Now, Delphi looking to capitalize on this. 1 gateway will get canceled. The Zealots and Oracle now in position as well. Zerglings have made their way inside the main base. And this is all just a very, very strong poke and harass. Delphi does not have seriously that large of an army. You can see another gateway has been taken down. And the photon cannon, now that it will finally get up, may actually open up a little bit of space once more. These rocks will cause a bit of a problem. I'm surprised that Delphi has not taken down these destructible rocks yet, as Zerglings engaging up against a couple of Zealots, not going to work out all too well. Photon cannon in position to push back all of those Zerglings, and now KnowMe with a very, very large front door, utilizing these gateways. And I'm really liking KnowMe's style. He likes to use his buildings much more as a Sim City effect, and he is now going into a double robotics facility. He apparently likes to play this heavy macro style, and Delphi actually double expanding, taking this base here, but also taking this base here. Now, what we'll most likely see is 16 drones per base, but I cannot imagine that Delphi actually wants to have 22 drones on 5 bases. Anytime a Zerg player is mining off of more than 4 bases, that means that, or any player is mining off more than 4 bases, that means that he is not very, very heavy in terms of his army, as the Hydralisks are now just going to be able to knock on this front door. In comes Oracles, the Mothership Core, Stalkers, Sentries. There is that time warp there, slowing down all of those units. Delphi's units unable to get around from those force fields. Very nicely played, but the Mothership Core does get taken down. Overseer is overhead. It looks as though some of these warp gates may get taken down. Stalkers do have very good range, as the Hydras are now backing away. Muscular augments have been completed. Groove Spines now completed, as the Overseer needs to back off. No pneumatized Carapace at all in order to get have faster movement speed. Okay, Stalkers, no blink. Both of these armies just, in terms of mass, very, very strong, but in terms of tech, rather small, as Delphi now running up and will be able to get up to 6 workers down off over here as well. 25/24 workers. Delphi, beyond saturation on this base, needs to transfer some workers over, perhaps even set up a hatchery here as well. He's sitting up on 4 bases, as the Mutalisks are now looking to harass and may find a rather empty natural expansion. Drones still making their way over here. It looks as though 9 over 24 workers will begin to work still here. 25 over 24 Delphi beyond saturation. 18 over 24, 14 over 24 as the number of mineral patches are starting to fall low. Mutalisk now come in for the harassment, getting in some damage here, but it looks as though the Stalkers and Sentries should be able to handle this pretty easily. Mutalisk now backing away. The Sentries do not have their Guardian Shield up, meaning the Glaive Worms are actually dealing much more damage than expected. Alright, more damage coming over. Stalkers going up against Mutalisk. The sheer number of Mutalisk is actually helping out in this war. KnowMe, however, now coming in with a decent number of Stalkers to counter. And now perhaps Hydralisk coming in on the front door as well, as all the gateways over here have been taken down. Hydralisk versus Stalkers, both sides fighting up. Oh, the Hydralisk walking straight into the group. Delphi losing control of his units, and that is not a good sign there. Delphi now looking to go into 8 gas play. This is absolutely huge, as more drones are now being transferred again. Delphi needs to set up this hatchery here. It looks like it will be placed down. And then this is going to become War of the Worlds Colossi versus Hydralisks. And all the Hydralisks are going to try to do is just crash upon this front door over and over. These destructible rocks are still not down. KnowMe sitting on 3 bases compared to the eventual 5 of Delphi. Delphi, now with not many drones inside his main base either. We'll see what's going to be happening. The Hydras are just poking apart, and Delphi has lost more resources, but at this point he doesn't really care, since he is also harvesting more and is also able to constantly harass. 49 probes versus 92, having double the amount of workers as Hydralisks engage, able to poke apart a little bit more, and now making their way over to the main base. There are 2 photon cannons there. Delphi deciding not to engage at all as the Immortal now tries to give chase. Not going to work at all there. So 17 over 24. Delphi with a ninja expansion, and if he's able to mine out this ninja expansion, that is going to be so many resources unchallenged by KnowMe, as KnowMe now looks to take this base off over here. All right, the hatchery is now done. KnowMe thinks that, hey, if I get this hatchery, that may simply be enough. He still doesn't know about this far base off in the corner, as the hatchery will fall, and a little bit of a morale victory, but that is it. KnowMe thinking that he's in this game, but in fact he's really far behind. There's a Viper, and there's the pluck. Down goes an Immortal, as Viper says, get over here. One Immortal escapes away with 12 hit points. If the Roach actually got off that final shot, that would have been very funny, as we now see Vipers are... How many Vipers are in the air? Only 1, and that Viper did deal a lot. Okay, let's see. Consuming, now going off of the extractor there. Consuming an extractor, always very nice. Getting a bit more energy to get more of those, abductions. Those abductions so strong. And pulling a unit over. Viper now in the air. Ultralisk now on the ground. You can see the Roaches now simply trying to swarm over once more. A triple warp gate wall. Is it going to be enough? And are we perhaps going to see the Colossi get abducted as well? Let's see what's happening over here. Does pulls target unit. Yep, it can in fact abduct that unit there. So here we go. Here's the engagement. Ultralisk. There's the swarm host. Are we going to see an abduction? No, we are not. I don't quite know the range of the abduction just quite yet, as we are going to see a little bit more attacking. Swarm hosts now are trying to engage. All of those locusts are just going to get taken down pretty easily, but the Ultralisk do deal 41 damage per attack. That is a lot of splash damage, and that could potentially be very dangerous. The Immortals now trying to counteract this. Swarm host still trying to make their way in. We now see a lot of bases. Here's the Swarm host trying to push off once more. Warp gates are going to get taken down. The what is this? The Viper now backing off. Are we going to see an abduction? We should be, but I'm not quite sure what is going to be pulled. That is a lot of Colossi. That is a lot of splash damage, as the Swarm host should at least be going up against those pylons. All right, in comes the Ultralisk. It looks like the Ultralisk are just going to hug that pylon to death. Down it goes. 50 supply advantage, as we now see Delphi taking up another base off over here. That is some serious gas play. You can see he's going to be running on, I believe, 10 to 12 gas. And with that much gas, Infestor Broodlord is going to be so easy to execute. You can see how much minerals and how much gas the Delphi is just currently sitting on. And these swarm hosts are still continuing their attacks, trying to push forward. Not quite working all too well. KnowMe with a very, very strong death ball. All of those swarm hosts now getting taken down, only to catch the units out of position. There you go. One warp gate does get taken out as more units now trying to make their way over. Mothership core still staying as the mothership core, not upgrading to the mothership just quite yet, as Mutalisks are now harassing inside the natural expansion. 23 workers killed, High Templars being added, and Delphi just in dominant control of this game. And there's not much I believe KnowMe can do. KnowMe still does not know much about what's happening over here on the far side of the map. You can see gas is being extracted here. Income in terms of minerals, very close. Income in terms of gas. KnowMe almost doubling his opponent in terms of gas, and I'm surprised he hasn't doubled his opponent yet, as there will be 3 workers on each of these extractors. Now sitting on about 4,000 minerals, 500 gas. Let's take a look at the army composition. The army composition of KnowMe is actually larger than Delphi. That may be because just the types of units that we're seeing, but with Broodlords and no Infestors, that does come off as a bit of surprise. You need the Infestors in order to just trade energy for units on the field. There are going to be Broodlords on the field, as we now see the Immortals quickly take down this Nexus off over here. Alright, army compositions. It looks as though KnowMe is catching up. Only about, what is that? A 1,300 resource difference, but the banks are really going to be where it's at. Ultralisk with 6 armor, going to take a lot of reduced damage. Only Immortals will be able to do very much, as even the Void Rays with their +6 attack while fully charged are only going to be dealing 17 damage to those Ultralisks per attack. Alright, Broodlords now making their way over. Where are they going to go? How much damage could be dealt? Do the Stalkers have Blink? Yes, they do. And in comes the engagement now. So much splash damage. There's that Time Warp. There's the Abduction. Both sides engaging as the Broodlords are just simply attacking KnowMe. Now down to 157. Delphi remaxing constantly. You can see that number drop and then get replaced back up so quickly. Broodlings now just trying to engage even further, but KnowMe down to 131. Meanwhile, Delphi sitting at 192. A couple of Broodlords will go down, and KnowMe has to believe that he won that fight, but I don't know if he's going to win this war, as wave after wave after wave of units are still going to be crashing in. Let's see, another base is being taken off over here. Delphi actually expanding towards his opponent in a rather unusual manner. Only 9 workers down here, 2 workers here. Oversaturation at this particular mineral patch. No, only 1 worker here. Where are all of those drones? 72 drones on the field, and where are they all mining? I am not quite so sure. Okay, are they mining off over here? 9? Okay, they just might be mining gas, and that is the issue. So you can see 6 here, 6 here, 6 here, 18, 24, 30, 36 drones on gas. And yeah, that's a very, very hefty number at this point. Half of his workers are on gas? Are you kidding me? He's actually mining more gas than he is minerals. All right. Overlords now going to be doing a drop inside the inside this location here. Is it going to be effective at all? Meanwhile, drones are being transferred. Zerglings and Roaches going to be dropped inside the main base. This is not a doom drop by any stretch of the imagination. Did the Phoenixes finally scout out these bases here? They did see a little bit of creep, but that is it. Now, coming in, we can see that the Zerglings are getting dropped inside. All the Zealots are trying to reinforce. It's not going to really work, as another drop happening inside the natural expansion. Roaches hitting 2 places at once, and now Roach is going to be hitting 3 places at once, as the Roaches are now making their way forward to take down these photon cannons. 1 photon cannon down, another photon cannon down. KnowMe knows some trouble now, as the Roaches are just swarming left and right. The Immortals are not going to be able to get into all the positions that they want. I believe the main Colossi army was able to come in off over here, but now goes down another robotics facility. High Templars unable to merge, and now even this Archon is going to have some problems as it gets taken down. Alright, there's another exchange. Delphi going, you know what, I did deal a bit of damage More workers have been lost. It is 66 drones to 46. But can he finish it? Delphi trying to finish the job here as he's remaxing and rebuilding a strong army of Broodlords. The Broodlords are upgraded to 1. Infestors are nearby as well. This is going to be a key moment. Can we perhaps see some abduction as we now see Tempest? All right, Tempest, kinetic overload, 85 damage, massive damage versus air. About almost 30 damage a second at a very far range. That Void Ray attack, or sorry, that Tempest attack, truly the counter as we see the Tempest on the move. And now what is going to be happening next? Zerg flyer attack, level 2 weapons upgrade about to be completed. I don't even know the upgrades on the Tempest. 85, maybe even 90 damage per attack against these Broodlords. 3-shotting those Broodlords there. Are we perhaps going to see some fungal growth? The Spine Crawler's now trying to come in. Oh, you can see that new animation on fungal growth. It is actually dodgeable, as we're going to see. There you go. But the attack just simply so strong, able to do that long distance attacking once more. Colossi, both sides are engaging. Who has the stronger army? Delphi needs to come out ahead, and here we go. Broodlords are engaging, and there's the fungal growth across multiple units. There is a whole bunch of hallucinated Void Rays, and are they absorbing damage? Yes, they are from those Corruptors. Fungal growth, damage being dealt. There's the mass recall, getting the heck out of dodge, realizing that that is not a good fight to be in. All right, coming back home. KnowMe sitting on 4 bases. Meanwhile, Delphi sitting on... I can't even count the number of bases that he's on any longer. Not that I do not know how to count up to 10, but I can't keep track. Is this a real base? Do you count this a real base? Yes. Is this a base? Not really. No gas being able to be mined at all. Corruptors now making their way over, and you can see perhaps the Corruptors are going to try to go for another engagement. 173 versus 137. Delphi, you can take a look. Delphi has lost 9,000 more in terms of resources. Infested Swarm Eggs now making their way out. Ultralisk coming in as well. There's those Broodlings, and there's the ball. The Ultralisk absorbing a bit of damage. Corruptors will be trying to engage. You can see how much damage these Tempests are doing as the Infested Terrans moving extremely slow. And now, are we going to see that Mothership Core get taken down? Void Rays now are nearby. There we go. There is the charge on those Void Rays. These are not hallucinated Void Rays. Excuse me. That's the prismatic charge coming in, and so much damage being dealt across. Still a lot of Broodlords, still a lot of Corruptors. Is it going to be enough? The Tempests are firing back at these Broodlords, able to one-shot if they do in fact focus fire, as the Tempest now looks to back off once more. A lot of damage being dealt. Delphi sitting very strong. The Broodlords going after the ground army, and if we just see a whole bunch of Hydralisks follow this up, it may simply be too much. Alright, here we go. More Broodlords being added. Needs to focus down those Stalkers. Perhaps need to focus down some of these other units as well. The Broodlords are now making their way in. And now in comes Infested Terran. Most likely, there we go. And a whole bunch of Infested Terran are going to cause problems for these Tempests. Are the Tempests going to be able to get away? Infested Terrans cannot get weapons or armor upgrades. That was a recent change. Another Tempest gets taken down. And a great macro war here on Korahal City, as KnowMe is not going to be able to hold this at all. Colossi are all that is left. One Archon trying to take down these Broodlords. So much damage being dealt. You can see that Broodlord already up with 5 kills. And now, let's take a look at the army composition. 14 Hydralisks, Corruptors, 12 Infestors. All of it just sitting here, ready to go once again. Alright. The Bank of Delphi has been closed. No, not sitting on that many resources much longer. You can see about a 70 supply discrepancy. Drones finally being transferred to this base here. Finally being mined from. The main bases have pretty much all been mined out. And even this base is nearing mine out completion. Delphi, realizing that he needs more resources in terms of minerals, actually pulling units off of gas to get 23, a very strong saturation here. Perhaps should have just transferred some drones here instead. Harvester count 65 to 49. 4 bases to 7 bases essentially totally mined out. And now that KnowMe is going down to about 1.5 bases, I cannot imagine him being able to take up another base all too easily. He still doesn't know about these 3 bases down here. KnowMe or Delphi should perhaps be trying to take down these destructible rocks, as he'll want another base sometime soon. There is a roach still up there on the high ground. Are we going to perhaps see units getting caught in transit? That could be potentially a game changer. There you go. One Colossus already down. A second, no, Void Ray is now going to get taken down, but the Void Rays do have bonus damage. Queens, Infestors, Nero, Parasite trying to take over some units. A Void Ray now counterattacking all of those units there. The Tempest turning against each other. And that is a huge, huge game changer there, as these Void Rays and Tempest are battling it out. All right, that one Colossus is going to be able to take down some more units there. Finally, the Void Rays and the Tempest know better, and there is the GG. A very well-played game by Delphi, taking Game 6, evening up the series. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Please stay tuned for Game 7.